Hello YouTube, welcome to the We All Juggle Knives channel and my review of the Nextool Mini Flagship 10-in-1 Keychain Multitool. Alright, there you see it with all the tools unfolded in the palm of my hand, so definitely a miniaturized tool. What does it have? It's got some pretty nice scissors. It's got mini pliers. I will demonstrate all these in this video, of course. It's got a nail nick for your little blade there. Those tools do not lock. On the other side it has a combo opener tool, can opener, and bottle opener. It has a Phillips screwdriver with a flattened head, and it has another screwdriver, your flathead, which also has file surfaces on each side. It's got a little lanyard hole and a little key ring. Alright, interesting. I think the highlight of that tool set is the scissors, which are very large in proportion to the small size overall of the tool. That's promising. Here's the data sheet that it came with, so if you want to see what they say all the functions are, you can pause that, read it over, and that's the little box that it comes in. It does not come with any sort of pouch because it's just meant to be a keychain multi-tool. So let's try out this mini multi-tool. That is a plastic binding, and it's doing really well on that. Sorry for any background noise. Alright, it killed that plastic binding. Here is heavy-duty nylon strap material, sort of like seatbelt material. Alright, so I filmed this in the very early morning. The birds were going crazy. Real world conditions. Alright, so it killed the seatbelt material. This is a piece of a box. It's very thick. And as you can see, the trick with that is just to squeeze really hard. And those scissors give you a lot of leverage. Alright, here's the paracord. Now, with little scissors, you know, some of them cut better towards the tips and some cut better towards the pivot. This one cuts better towards the pivot. If you're having trouble, just jam whatever you're cutting, like as close to the pivot as you can get. And as you can see, it does cut the paracord cleanly. Alright, so some multi-tools struggle with that. Not Victorinox though. Alright, here we are making some Ranger bands, that is rubber bike tire tubing. And again, cut towards the, as close to the pivot as you can, made some Ranger bands for you. Alright, the little knife blade. The knife blade came sharp enough to whittle with at least. I sped this footage up a bit, just because you can get the idea. So this is, if you had to sharpen a pencil, for example, this tiny little blade. I don't usually expect too much from a tiny little multi-tool blade, but you could whittle with this at least, or just cut some small thing. Alright, so there you go. Made a little pointy stick. Alright, here it is making a little V-shaped notch in another piece of scrap wood. So one stop cut and one push cut together make that notch. So little blades do have their uses, more for just small cutting tasks, but it came pretty sharp. Alright, someone always asks, are the pliers precise enough to pull a hair? Well, this doesn't have tweezers, so yeah, you could kind of use them as tweezers in that situation. I also do that because it's funny. Here's the pliers gripping something else, typical thing I use pliers for, to snap off the used blades on my Stanley utility knife. Alright, here's the wire cutting function. Now, look how small, right? Look how small the length of those cutters are, but yet they do work. Now, that's just some pretty easy soft wire, but it is a mini tool, so they work for soft wire. Alright, gonna test out the screwdrivers. That's my Kershaw Camp 12 machete. And I did speed this up a little. I know it's riveting. You don't want to miss a second. But so that's the flattened Phillips, which just happens to fit one of the screws that holds the tang onto that. So it unscrewed that screw, and now I'm tightening the screw again. Alright, so that all works fine. Now the flathead also happens to fit that same screw, although you know, it moves around a little more because it's just the flathead and it's a Phillips screw, but it can, in a pinch, it can be used. Alright, so the screwdrivers, you know, little screwdrivers, they don't lock, but in a pinch. Now that flathead screwdriver, like I said, has a file surface. There I am filing. You'll see, it's a nail. right? And now they list that file as a nail file, but it's actually not roughed the way a nail file would be. It's actually just has some crosshatch texture like a normal file. So see if I can file stuff with it. All right, so you see the shiny part on the rusty old nail. That's where it filed. So you could file wood, plastic, and metal with that file. All right, speaking of the file, that's my ferro rod. Gonna see if we can use it as a striker. And it can be used as a striker. Now, there's 1,000 other things you could use as a striker, including just, the striker that comes with some ferro rods. But, hey, if you want to use your multi-tool thing as a striker, yeah, you can. And just as the fire burns very brightly, so too does my passion to inform you about multi-tools. And here are the openers. You need a drink? Well, there you go. That's the bottle opener. And the can opener got some healthy veggies for you. It's one of those push style openers, and I'm just going to pierce the top of the can just to show it can. And there you go. So those were the openers. Here's a comparison with my well-used Leatherman Micra. That's another mini multi-tool that has some really boss scissors, right? So if you need very large scissors in proportion to like the mini tool's overall size, consider the Micra, or consider, if you need the mini pliers as well, consider the mini flagship multi-tool. Here's a comparison with other options in this category of keychain, mini multi-tools. We've got the Nextool mini flagship. We've got the Gerber dime, the Leatherman squirt, Victorinox mini champ, the Leatherman PS style, and the Kilimanjaro Ascend. Currently, the least expensive is usually the Gerber dime for now, but that could change. All of these have the pliers and the scissors, except the Swiss knife, which is super useful, so it has earned a slot in this comparison. Now, one thing that Nextool might consider adding would be some tweezers, as like the Gerber dime, for example, has those tweezers that fit into a slot in its handle scale, because sometimes the pliers can act as tweezers, but not in all cases. All right, here are the mini multi-tools with the pliers opened and the scissors opened, just to give you an idea of the different sizes involved. So the pliers are all comparable, but as far as the scissors, the mini flagship really gives you bigger scissors, and those scissors also give you more leverage to apply more force. However, I will say that the scissors on the Swiss knife are actually sharper. So the bottom line is, if you need some really nice scissors on a mini tool, either get the Micra or get this Nextool. Now, the price on this was $23, but that definitely could change at any time. I will include links to this as well as these other options in the keychain category, as well as links to Nextool's full-sized multi-tool options, right? But I'm very glad that they developed this multi-tool, because for such a long time in the keychain category of multi-tools, there was really nothing new. For as long as I can remember, it's been the Gerber dime competing strongly with the Leatherman squirt, as well as the Victorinox mini champ. And those were really the three just titans of this category, and just for so many years. So I'm glad someone is actually trying to offer new things and to compete. And the way that they've done those scissors, which are basically like mini shears, we've seen that configuration in full-size tools. There's at least 4 full-size tools that have that configuration, but it's cool that they shrunk it down and managed to actually make it work, and actually gave you some sharp scissors that can cut paracord and so forth. It's a good configuration, and it offers a lot of leverage. It's efficient. I think this multi-tool is a very solid offering in its category, but you do have to understand the category. Multi-tools in general are a compromise. They were never meant to completely take the place of an entire toolbox of full-sized, quote, real tools. And when you get to the keychain stuff, which is miniaturized, that's even more of a compromise. So I do recommend it, but only if you have that rare quality nowadays known as common sense. Yes, I had this multi-tool and I got shot and it didn't even stop the bullet. Man, this thing sucks. All right, if you're the type to say that, then maybe don't buy it. But yeah, I actually do think it's pretty awesome new development in this keychain category. It is a little heavy for a keychain, like a little kind of a little big for one tool. But then looking at these YouTube videos about like everyday carry keychains, I see people carrying like 6 little different lighters and flashlights and tools on their keychain. So if you're carrying 6, I mean, maybe this would count for 2 slots on one of those keychains. All right, YouTube, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like videos like this where the reviewer demonstrates the item doing a lot of different tasks, feel free to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And check out the links in the text description box. Those do help support the channel, and I really appreciate you using them. This has been We All Juggle Knives. I'm out.